It's Cox Plate week, and that means it's time for me to provide my selections for the big race. We won't waste any time. We'll get on with the market. The favourite is the Japanese Raider. Prognosis at $3, $4.20 about for the second favourite, Via Sistina. Will she run? She accepted, so we'll see. Pride of Jenny at $5 is the third favourite. Out to $7 for Broadsiding, $9 for Mr. Brightside, and double figures the rest. The speed map, Pride of Jenny should lead by a long way here. There could be something take her on. I think Evaporate will use that gate and sit more forward, especially with the lightweight of 49.5 kilos. Mr. Brightside looks to be second or third the fence. Royal Patronage will be on speed. Docklands will be around midfield. I think Via Sistina from that gate can be a pair or two closer than what it normally is. Prognosis, I think D-Lane's going to stay away from the inside. And I think Broadsiding will get all the way back to almost last, and J-Car will just use the fence, and then Kovalika at the back. The first replay we're going to be taking a look at is of the Group 2 fee and stakes at Moonee Valley. 1,600 metres where Pride of Jenny and Mr. Brightside clash. Pride of Jenny beats Mr. Brightside on this occasion by a length and a half. Pride of Jenny, we'll talk about Pride of Jenny first. It's since come out two or 3 weeks later, running the King Charles on the Saturday just gone in Sydney over 1,600 metres, and was very brave there. Look, she's handled 2,000 metres in the past. She's handled the week back up in the past. She looks to be the only out-and-out leader in this race. She gets her own way. She loves the Valley. There's a lot going for Pride of Jenny on Saturday, and I think she's a very, very good winning chance. Mr. Brightside, we're also going to take a look at his track gallop this morning on Breakfast with the Best. It was on the inside of a good mare from the Hayes Yard called Perfect. Mr. Brightside ran second in this race last year, just beaten by Romantic Warrior when he was somewhat unlucky not to win the race. So he can handle the track and distance, the Moonee Valley 20-40 metre start. He's a good horse. He's consistent. We know where he'll be. He'll be on speed. Probably the first horse on the inside behind Mr. Brightside, behind Pride of Jenny. He's ever so consistent. He'll run a very good race as he always does. Pride of Jenny and Mr. Brightside are two very, very good chances in the race. Then we'll get on to Via Sistina. If you somehow missed what happened this morning on Breakfast with the Best, she dislodged J-Mac around the final corner and did 3 laps of the Valley on her own. This was a little clip that shows her just one of her bandages coming loose. She must have stepped on one of her bandages. It came loose, and then because it came loose, she tripped over it, and that's what sent J-Mac flying. She continued on, so it's not ideal, is it, going into a Cox Plate? Will she run at all? Well, I saw a lot of mixed reports this morning saying, she will run, and then other people saying, she won't run, from some well-known people like Chris Waller and the Yulong owner. What's his name? I know his last name's Cox. I'm not sure his first name, but there was a lot of mixed reports, but it's not ideal going into a Cox Plate. This was a Turnbull win, beating Buckaroo. Now, in my opinion, this form line is very strong. Already produced the Caulfield Cup winner in Duke de Sessa, the Caulfield Cup second place getter in Buckaroo. Via Sistina did very well to win here, was on the 3-wide train and then just peeled out at the top of the straight and did the rest. D-Lane jumps off to ride the Japanese horse, which isn't ideal, but losing nothing with James McDonald going on. Gate 4 is ideal, can position itself, as I already outlined, about midfield or so off the inside, and I think Via Sistina is a good chance. The 2 3-year-olds in the race, Broadsiding and Evaporate, both come out of the Caulfield Guineas. This is what we're taking a look at now. I forgot to highlight Evaporate. It's the horse with the yellow cap and the white slashes that ends up finishing about a neck in front of Broadsiding. Now, I'm willing to forgive Broadsiding on this day, not necessarily due to the track bias, but it was second up in distance switching states, which is something that I really don't like. And Evaporate was rock hard fit, so I think Broadsiding can turn the tables on Evaporate. I don't think Broadsiding maps the best from gate 8 though on Saturday. We'll have to get right back to second last or last, and Evaporate's going to be well ahead of it. So with that in mind, I think they set up very evenly again. I think Broadsiding takes more improvement out of that Caulfield Guineas, but I think Evaporate gets a better run in transit on Saturday. So they're very hard to line up. We're also going to take a look at the track work this morning of Broadsiding. He did some very good work. I haven't heard of the stablemate before, but it ended up finishing in front of that horse. Broadsiding was very promising. It had been putting up some great ratings in its 2-year-old campaign, especially the JJ Atkins win. come back with a good win in the Golden Rose. Let's not forget it's the only horse to win first up ever in the Golden Rose. But this Cox Plate is pretty strong. It's not the biggest field, but it's pretty strong. Pride of Jenny runs them off their legs. Mr. Brightside, very, very good horse. Via Sistina, very, very good horse. Prognosis, Boom Import. It's a very, very tough Cox Plate this year, but look, I'm not going to be with Broadsiding or Evaporate, but they can win. The favourite, the Boom Import, the Japanese, its name's Prognosis, and this was its run in the Queen Elizabeth Cup earlier this year in Hong Kong behind Romantic Warrior. Now you can tie the form in here with the likes of Mr. Brightside because Prognosis in this race finishes a quarter of a length off Romantic Warrior. Last year, Mr. Brightside got beaten a pimple by Romantic Warrior. So they match up very evenly in that instance, but last year Romantic Warrior was second up in that Cox Plate compared to a fit Mr. Brightside. Prognosis and Romantic Warrior were both coming off similar sort of breaks, about 8 weeks between runs heading into this Queen Elizabeth Cup. So I think Prognosis is a better horse than Mr. Brightside based off that Romantic Warrior form line, but Prognosis has never seen the Valley before, which I think plays into a horse like Mr. Brightside and Pride of Jenny's hands when tying the form in. Prognosis looks to get a good run, but Mr. Brightside and Pride of Jenny are going to be ahead of it in the run, so it's very even. This is what's so hard about all the big races, all the big guns run in it, so it's very hard to weigh up, but Prognosis is a good chance. The last runner we're going to be taking a look at is Docklands. This was its run in the Queen Anne during the Ascot Carnival earlier this year. It finished second behind Sharon. Now, this race was over 1,600 metres. Did very well to finish off second behind the eventual winner over the 1,600 metres. A horse that's only seen the 2,000 metres once, and it finished 7th, beaten 11.5 lengths by City of Troy in a Group 1 race at York. So when you look at that, you think, oh, it's a little bit suspect at the 2,000 metres. I think from the gate, it'll be just in behind Mr. Brightside, getting a nice run. Blake Sheen on is a big plus. We'll get everything out of this horse. Just a minor query of the 2,000 for mine, and I was sucked into the international form lines of Victoria Road last year. I don't think I'm going to be sucked in again. I haven't got Docklands in my top 4. Now let's get on to the top 4. I've got Via Sistina on top. I was going to tip her on top and be pretty confident last night, but now that she's fallen, look, I'm not too sure how to treat it. I'm going to have her on top anyway. See what the market does with her. It's a very rare thing what happened this morning, so it's interesting to see how everybody reacts. I think her form lines are very good. The Duke de Sessa Buckaroo form line has already produced something special in the Caulfield Cup. Maps well from gate 4. James McDonald rides. If it runs, it'll be my on-top selection. If not, Pride of Jenny, it'll be out in front. It'll be going for it. The end of 2,040 metres off the week back up. Look, I'm not sure, but we know it can handle a week back up. It's done so in the past. We know it can handle the 2,000 metres where it beat Via Sistina by 6.5 lengths in the Queen Elizabeth Stakes earlier this year. So it'll be doing its own thing out in front. It's proven at the Valley. In for third, Mr. Brightside. I could have had either Mr. Brightside or Prognosis in this position, but I've gone with Mr. Brightside. I just think it represents more value than the favourite at the moment. Is proven over the Valley, was good in the Cox Plate last year, maps for a good run this year, is in good form, ever so consistent. It'll be running a good race. And Prognosis, could it replicate what Liga de Sher did and just get around the Valley and be too good for them? We'll see. In the small field, it looks to get back to off midfield or so. And with D-Lane in the saddle, be charging down the outside late. It's going to be an absolutely brilliant race. Not too many horses in this year's edition, but it's stacked with quality. And I can't wait to see who wins the Cox Plate on Saturday. Thanks everyone for tuning into these Cox Plate 2024 tips. Hopefully Via Sistina wins. Hopefully you back it. And until next video, bye for now.